y'all. Hey, and welcome back to another session of The Sanctuary. I'm your girl and guide, Mariah Miles, and we moving and grooving today. Let's jump right back in, settling our bodies, coming into the flow of things. As we continue our journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on the intentions and rituals we explored in our last session. How has the flow of these practices been for you? Did you find a sense of ease as you embrace your intentions? Or have you noticed any obstacles that it might have been getting in the way? Remember, starting something new can often feel challenging at first, right? Let this be a gentle reminder that consistency is key, and it's completely okay to give yourself grace and self-compassion along the way. I feel like sometimes we forget that. We're often so hard on ourselves, putting so much pressure, having these expectations that may not be realistic, but let it be our friend who's trying to do something new. And we're uplifting and encouraging, telling them they can do it. So what would it be like if we gave ourselves the same courtesy? Consider setting small, manageable goals for yourself, right? We talked in length about that last time. I'm just talking about 2 to 3 minutes a day, and this can make a significant difference, right? And as always, keeping it simple, right? Keeping it simple allows you to stay connected to your practice without feeling overwhelmed. And then just sitting with that, right? Can I have self-compassion for myself without judgment? So let's take a moment to close our eyes or lower your gaze, whatever feels right to you in this moment, and allow yourself to tune in and turn inward. What feelings arise as you consider this? Are there moments of clarity or perhaps some hesitation? Just allow yourself to notice whatever comes up, again, without judgment. Just noticing. Today our focus is the breath. I want to take a moment to reflect on the importance of breath in our mindfulness practice. Often we might not realize just how powerful our breath is, but really it shapes our emotional and physical states, right? And sometimes we may take the breath for granted. We might say things like, I'm breathing, so what? Okay, but how well are you breathing? Let's take a moment right now just to notice. Let's notice your breath. What parts of your body move when you breathe? How long is the inhale? How long is your exhale? Just kind of think about it. Just notice it. And I'm also really curious because when we're stressed or anxious, our breathing often becomes shallow and quick. Have you noticed that? However, when we're feeling calm and relaxed and centered, what's our breath doing then? It's deeper, more rhythmic. This connection between breath and our state of mind is profound. And that might sound weird. How can our breath be profound? But it's linked to our autonomic nervous system. That regulates our body's involuntary functions, right? It's natural. So when we breathe deeply and slowly, we activate a different part. That parasympathetic nervous system that promotes relaxation. But really, it's the bridge between our emotional and cognitive states. It's the link. Did you know that in some cultures, the breath is seen as a vital force? Breathing is often tied to the concept of life, energy, consciousness. See, so this connection between breath and our state of mind is profound. Breath is an integral part of our existence. Today, I'd like to highlight a specific breathing technique, diaphragmatic breathing. If you're following along in your journal, that's somatic practice number 2. It's still found in the month of January. This practice not only helps us relax, but also enhances our ability to focus and be present. Just by engaging our diaphragm, we stimulate our body's natural relaxation response. How often do you allow yourself to relax? I've had clients say to me that it makes them anxious anytime someone tells them to take some deep breaths. Or have you ever been in the situation where you're kind of upset and someone tells you, just chill out, take a breath? I get it, right? Some people may find that deep breathing exercises can actually bring up feelings of anxiety. If you've ever experienced this, you're not alone. Sometimes when we focus on our breath, especially if we're not used to it, it can feel overwhelming. It might even lead to a sense of panic. This is completely valid. It's really important to recognize that. What might work for somebody else might not work for you in that moment. But it doesn't mean that it won't ever work for you. It's really essential to listen to your body, right? Honor how you feel. If deep breathing feels uncomfortable, then I encourage you to try a more gentle approach. Instead of forcing deep inhalations, you might simply focus on your natural breath, observing it without trying to change it. You could also practice breath awareness, maybe by counting your breath or placing your hand on your heart and feeling its rhythm. This is not a one-size-fits-all, right? Many moons ago, I took a sketching class, and the professor was really into you must learn the basics before you venture off on your own, right? And so if you feel like, hey, I already know how to draw, why do I need to go back to the basics? You might miss something. So what is that resistance that doesn't allow you to kind of keep it simple, to have that beginner's mind? Just notice that, how that plays out throughout life. Okay. So that brings us back to there's no right way to breathe. There's no right way to draw. The goal is to cultivate a sense of comfort and connection with your body. So feel free to adapt the practice in any way that feels best for you. But come back to the intention. What is the purpose of this practice? Right? And so that intention is to cultivate a sense of comfort and connection with your body. So let's try it out. I invite you to practice with me. Find a comfortable seat, or you can lay down. Place one hand of your choosing on your chest, your heart, and the other hand place on your belly if you're able. We're going to inhale through our nose And as we do, I want you to allow the breath to begin at your belly, your lower belly. So here we go. Inhale through your nose and feel your belly press against and into your hand. And see if you can push it away from you while keeping the chest still. Let's try again. Inhale through your nose, feel your belly press into your hand, and allow your chest to be still. Hold the breath there for a moment. And then slowly exhale through your mouth. Paying close attention to what it feels like to allow the belly to fall back to its natural state. And maybe it sinks in, navel reaches towards your spine. Inhaling through your nose, feel your belly press again, once again against your hand, and see if you can push it away, allowing your chest to be still. Holding the breath, open your mouth and slowly exhale. Belly sinks back. Another cycle on your own, feeling the inhale through your nostrils, feeling the belly and the weight of it. And opening your mouth and slowly letting the breath go. Just allowing yourself to focus on the sensation of the breath. And so maybe you pause and sit with yourself and allow yourself to sink into this practice, noticing what it feels like, adapting it to your own needs. Noticing what you need in this moment. As you come back into this space, you might reflect on what thoughts or feelings arose during this practice. You might take a moment to write it in your journal, maybe about your experience and any insights that you gained. It could be as simple as, that was too slow, I'm having a hard time breathing or holding my breath. Whatever comes up for you. And maybe you pause the recording again and take another moment to reflect on that. And when you're ready, just be joining us. Last week I noticed that when I'm solo, I can tap into my stillness in an instant. But when I'm faced with maybe hustling my children to their sporting activities, one here, one across town, I notice a little more activation, right? It's just some normal day-to-day stress that we all have. But I'm engaging with other elements out of my control, right? That's real life. And so sometimes our daily stressors can feel overwhelming at times. Sometimes so much that we might feel like we're barely keeping our head above water. It's really in these moments where the pause, right? If we had a physical pause button, how nice would that be? But we don't. So we create it within ourselves. So the practice I like to hold in those moments is taking an internal pause, bringing my attention to this awareness, noticing that there has been a shift within me. And maybe I start practicing the diaphragmatic breathing. just taking a few moments to focus on my breath transforms this experience for me, right? My mind feels clearer. There's a shift in my mindset, a shift in my heart, a little more peaceful. I'm able to be present, maybe while I'm driving, which is hopefully what we're doing. I'm able to connect with my children on a different level, right? Especially a different level than if I was allowing the stress to be the guide. So I hit my pause button. And sometimes for some, we might use our imagination and come up with what your pause button might actually look like. Is it a remote? Is it a video game controller? Is it a panic button? Like, what is your pause button? If you had to, what would it look like? What would it feel like? Use your senses. What might it smell like? Are there any textures? And just kind of sitting with that, right? Externalizing what my pause button could look like. And you could be super creative. It doesn't have to be something that you've seen already. Use your imagination. See if that is supportive to cultivating your own pause button. So whether you're facing a busy day ahead, feeling the weight of emotions, or simply seeking a moment of peace, diaphragmatic breathing can be a valuable tool. It's simple. It's like real simple. I am not reinventing the wheel here, but it's really effective. A really effective way to ground ourselves and reconnect with our inner selves. So I invite you to consider, how does your breath influence your state of mind and your emotions from any given moment? Mindfulness is really about being present with what is. Remember, diaphragmatic breathing as a practice for grounding and introspection really supports your mindfulness journey, being aware of what is right now in this moment. We are growing our own sense of self-awareness, and the more aware we are, the more in tune we are. The more in tune we are, there's our peaceful heart. Well, this has been extremely restful. So until our next session, which we will be working with week 2's insight and some more somatic practices, specifically somatic practice number 3, which is somatic release. I would love to hear from our sanctuary voices. So feel free to write in and share your healing stories or other curiosities with us over here at the sanctuary. I'll put together a social media page. However, in full disclosure, y'all, I am not a fan. My sense of presence gets easily bored with social media. So I will link down below where you can find me and send over what I'm calling our sanctuary voices. I want to hear from you. How can we support? Until next time, embrace each breath and remember, our bodies have this innate wisdom, the beautiful ability to heal itself, and we heal best in community. Peace, y'all. And while this podcast may feel like a therapeutic conversation, it is important to note that it is not a substitute for professional therapy. The information shared here is intended solely for educational purposes and should not be used as a replacement for personalized mental health care. Although I am a therapist, I am not acting as your therapist in this setting. If you are in a need of support, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional.